What's up everyone, it's Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we are going to do an update on my long distance friendship. So if you're new here, a while ago, it's about a year. It's been over a year now since I've done that video, but about a year ago I did a video kind of explaining, tips and tricks that I have learned over the years of how to maintain long distance friendships, because I moved from South Africa to the US and I have a best friend, and we've been doing that. At that point we had been doing it for 5 years, and now it's 6 years, which is insane. We haven't seen each other in 6 years. I think that's the worst. That's the worst part about this. But we are still going strong. But also I have learned something new recently, and I felt like I wanted to share it because, like I said, I did a video with about tips and tricks, and this is one of those tips and tricks that didn't make it into that video because I hadn't realized this particular one at the time. So if you haven't seen that video, go check that out. And before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you can be notified when I upload a new video. Also, comment down below if you're in a long distance friendship or anything like that, or if you have any video ideas for me. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into today's video. So as I mentioned a couple seconds ago, I moved from South Africa to the US about 6 years ago now, and so I haven't seen my bestie in 6 years physically, which is just insane. And I said this in my other video, but that's kind of the worst part, is that, sometimes you just miss them. We just miss each other, and it's really hard. But yeah, we are still going strong. We have been for 6 years, and I think we've been friends for 3 years before that or something. I don't know, but we have known each other for a very long time. And I talked about, how important it is to maintain contact and communication and everything like that. But I recently learned something that was pretty interesting. And it stemmed from, so I was having conversations with people, and they were telling me that one of the reasons that they don't, that maybe they fall out of touch with people from back home, like people who've moved here, or moved abroad just in general, and they fall out of touch with people, is that they don't have anything in common anymore. And it's kind of one of those things, it's a common thing where sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't speak to that person anymore because we're in different places in our lives and everything like that, which totally normal. But the thing that was interesting to me is that they said that they don't have anything in common because they can't relate to each other, because they're not exposed to the same things anymore. We're in different parts of the world and things are just different, and it's very difficult to have conversations when you can't relate to each other. And I thought about this because it's the same thing with Ompila and I, where we are on opposite sides of the world. We're in different hemispheres. It's, there are so many things about, I guess, our lives geographically, but also just, in general, there's different things happening here, there's different things happening there, and lives are completely different. So how have we managed to stay in touch, and not just in touch, but stay best friends for the last 6 years? And the answer is pretty simple. We focus on the things that we have in common. And I feel like that sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. And an example that I can think of is one day we were talking about something, and she was telling me about a song that she was listening to. And we were talking about music because we both love music. And I was like, oh, that's interesting, and that's kind of cool. And Ompila goes, yeah, that song is very popular here. And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, that's not really popular here, but that's really interesting. So we had a conversation about it, and and then we talked about other stuff and all that jazz. But it got me thinking about something, and that was, we are exposed to very different things sometimes. We're not exposed to exactly the same things anymore. One of them, which is probably a really simple example, but it is one I'm going to use to kind of explain what I'm talking about, is the music. So here I'm very exposed now to a lot more country music, right? Country is one of America's genres, and you know, it gets listened to a lot, and so I'm exposed to that. South Africa does not do country. It's not a popular genre, or at least it's not one of the main ones. I'm not saying that people don't maybe listen to it. I think I listened to country in South Africa, which is you know, I've always kind of, I guess, been drawn to country music. I don't know, but I listen to it. Ompila does not, right? Because Ompila is not exposed to it. South Africa isn't really exposed to country music. The same thing for, I think they're exposed to more house music, and I'm not, because I don't live there anymore, and house isn't a genre that's typically kind of played here, and so I'm not as exposed to that as Ompila is. And it's interesting because what tends to happen, and like I said, this is kind of a strange little example, but what tends to happen is we go, oh, well, we can't talk about music because we don't listen to the same music anymore, and there's nothing, we can't relate to each other, right? But we do, because there's still a lot of music that we are both exposed to that is exactly the same. And I think that sometimes people kind of struggle to focus on that, and they kind of focus on a lot of things that are different because, like I said, we are in different parts of the world, and so there are things that are going to be different. That doesn't mean that we don't talk about the different things happening and how our lives are different, but it's not something that we've ever focused on, and I think that's why we're still besties. We actually had a moment a couple days ago where we were talking about something, and you know that thing where you're like, we know that we're best friends, but something happened where I was like, this is why you're my best friend. And so we had one of those moments, and it was so special because I don't know, it's really special to have that. And so yeah, that was something that happened a couple days ago. But anyways, like I said, it got me thinking about how we've been able to maintain that, and that is pretty much it, is that yes, there are going to be differences, and you know, it's kind of inevitable that your lives are going to be in different places, but because we have been able to focus on the things that we have in common and the things that we can still relate to, is that's kind of how we have been able to do the workaround with that, and how we are still friends to this day. So if anyone's going through that phase where they're struggling to relate, you know, maybe try that and see if that works. And obviously sometimes just people kind of just grow apart, and that happens. It happens in, even if you're in the same state or if you've seen each other every day and that kind of stuff. But I thought that this might be helpful because it has been something that a lot of people have told me recently, and so I feel like, you know, that's kind of how we do it, and we've been doing it for a while, and it works, and it's, you know, it's really fun. And yeah, and you know, sometimes it's like I said, I'm not saying that we can't share those things. Like if she shared a song with me, and I can share stuff with her. But for example, with the country music, right? Like they're not exposed to country music, but we both are exposed to Sabrina Carpenter. So Sabrina Carpenter has a song called Slim Pickens, and it's very country. And so that's a happy medium, you know? So there we have a commonality and a little bit of a difference, but it works, you know? Yeah, so that is, and you know, like I said, there's a lot of things that are still the same. So focus on those, and I hope that helps somebody who's going through something similar. But yeah, thank you guys for watching today's video. That is it. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. I love to read everybody's thoughts in the comments. It's always really nice. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!